And we are live. Welcome to a Sunday stream. Shout out to everybody that's here. Shout out to everybody that is watching the streams. I appreciate everybody for showing up. Hopefully, everybody's having a good weekend. Hopefully, you had a good hashtag Friday Pie Day a couple of days ago. I guess this is my streaming outfit and my filming outfit. This works the best. I've noticed this color works the best with like the screen whenever I'm popping up all the stuff in the background. The good news is that we have gotten our fill on our Bitcoin long that we were talking about yesterday and even the day before that, right? You might have an entry opportunity here really quickly if you are paying attention to the charts or if you set your orders and things of that sort. I definitely got my fills. I'm pretty confident still in the trade setup. I mean, we're not really, let's be real, we're not really risking that much to make a pretty significant amount of money, right? So we are in a Doge short right now. We are in a Cardano short right now, or at least I am. I don't know if you are. I'm in a Bitcoin long because we do see a cup and handle pattern on the Bitcoin chart. It is a little concerning on the Doge and the Cardano. I will say that we may close those trades out like live if whenever I'm going through all of this analysis live for you. And we see that Bitcoin's going to start ripping to the upside, then we might close those shorts out just because whenever Bitcoin tends to run, the altcoins tend to follow sometimes, especially like meme coins like Doge. Cardano seems to kind of follow Bitcoin in its trajectory. So, you know, we might be able to close those out in profit quickly. But anybody that's here, make sure you smash the like button, baby. Make sure you hit subscribe. Boom. Bang on the notification bell so you know whenever I'm going live. We're doing all this live TA pretty much every day, it seems like, because there's almost like a pertinent level that seems to be getting hit a lot of the time. So if you have something that you would like me to look at, dude, seriously, dudes and dudettes, right? Because we don't discriminate on the channel. Make sure that you take advantage of this now, because I mean, when we've got 3 or 5 dozen people on the streams, which just seems to be that's about what we're getting pretty much every stream after they kind of kick off. It's a lot easier for me to take requests. Once we get hundreds of people or, 500 people or 1,000 people on the stream, it's going to be a lot harder for me to take your requests. So get that in now, and then it'll help us kind of teach you the TA, right? Get you experts on the charts. And then you can go out and kind of like look at these things yourself, and you won't have to rely on me like looking at your chat and saying like, oh, okay, I'll look at XRP right now, right? I might not get to it that day once the streams get, larger. So first and foremost, we're going to go ahead and get into the Bitcoin charts. Let me just make sure that my stuff is live. It is. And it is, of course, not this thing, man. This thing really does not cooperate very well. For some reason, my Chrome, I'm trying to like share my Chrome window, man. But sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And OBS is really, really annoying with that. So let me see if it'll pop it up. And naturally, it will not. Now you're just seeing a black screen. Okay, we'll just do the display capture because that's what we need to do, apparently. Bam. All right, cool. Let's get a baby Drew in the corner, and let's talk about the potential entry that you may have if you want to take a Bitcoin long, right? We do see Bitcoin trending downwards here to about 97.6. We're at about 97.6 right now, so let's see what we got going on, right? Okay, so it looks like we are kissing the bottom of that channel again, all right? And if you weren't here yesterday, we'll fill you in on what we were talking about, right? And why we think this is a decent trade setup, potentially, right? This is a cup and handle pattern. This is pretty textbook cup and handle, right? You could probably even bring it up a little bit if you really wanted to and bring it up to this high. But, be that as it is, in any case, this is a nice little cup and handy, right? So let's go ahead and take some of this stuff off. Here's our targets, okay? So first and foremost, with this trade right here, this is a long position. We'll zoom in on it just really quick so that everybody can see. All right, so this was kind of our stop out point right here at about 97.2, right? We did not get stopped out. I had my stop loss at like 97.203 or something like that, right? So we got lucky on that. We did not get stopped out, which was great. But now we are back testing this top portion of this channel, right? overnight while we were sleeping, or at least while I was sleeping. I don't know exactly where you are in the world, so you might not have been sleeping, but we talked about basically taking this trade right here and saying, okay, if we have broken out of this cup and handle, we got the confirmation candle here, right? We came up here, we smashed into a little bit of resistance. I said, okay, if we come down here and we actually back test this, this is probably a good place to enter along, right? And then we talked about how you would have to kind of trail your orders down if you don't get your fill here, right? And if you trailed your orders down, I was not able to because obviously I was asleep, right? For most of these. But if you trailed your orders down, you're getting some pretty good price points to potentially take this trade, right? So that's what we're looking at right now. I'm gonna turn off this Flux Algo. Okay, cool. All right, everything looks good. Now, here's the problem that we just ran into, and we're gonna take this long position off of. The problem that we just ran into is a dynamic resistance level, right? That we flipped from support to resistance, right? This used to be support, the 50. Now it's a resistance level. So we kind of came down here, bing bong, right? Came down, we rejected, came down, we fell back into the handle of the cup and handle pattern. We broke back out of it. We confirmed up here. We hit the 50. We wicked above it, and then we kind of rejected from it. And now we're coming back down, and we're back testing this channel again, right? So we are still confirmed above the handle of this cup. Why? Because what it would take for us to confirm back inside of this handle is you have to have a close of an hourly candle below here, okay? Below this trend channel. And honestly, this trend channel is I mean, it's held up pretty well if you think about it. Like, we did fall below it, but then we regained it pretty much immediately. Now, the one other thing that we're seeing is we have lost this point of control on this visible range, or this, yeah, not visible range, but this volume profile that we pulled yesterday, which is a fixed range volume profile from kind of the parabolic move all the way up to the all-time high, the new all-time high that was right here at about $107,000, $108,000. Okay. So we need to regain that in order for our trade to continue, I guess, like our thesis to continue to stay strong. Okay, let me delete this off of here. Boom. So that's kind of what we're struggling with right now. We've got a couple of lines in the sand, right? Wicks don't matter. It's closes that matter. So we can wick down inside of this channel. Doesn't matter, right? We have to close, right? So here's my point. We have to get through and reclaim this kind of like area right here at about 96.7. And then we're going to need to, obviously, our first line in the sand is we need to reclaim this 20 moving average, which is this, or this 9 moving average, which is this yellow kind of line right here that you see starting to kind of curl up. But if we can reclaim above it, then it will start to curl up. Same thing with the 20 up here, which is the pink line, right? And I'll zoom in just so you can see it a little bit better. But the pink line is right here, and it's at about 97,988, so about 98,000. Now, my bias is that we've already kind of like reclaimed this point of control that we were talking about from the fixed range. If we get above this yellow, which is the 9 SMA, then we're going to be headed back up to the 20, because the 20, if you know anything about the 20, it's a magnet. Like, you can see price always tries to go back to the 20, right? Or the 20 will come down into price, right? So you'll see these big ass candles like this one right here that we came and we were here at the point of control, right? And boom, it came right back up to the 20, right? Or you will see the 20 kind of start to curl up towards the price. Like, we were way outside of the price, so it started curling up, and it started getting closer to the price. So it's a dynamic resistance or support level, depending on whether you are below it or not. Now, this gives you kind of I want to talk about a strategy that I take from the stock market, right? That you can utilize inside of every other market too. And it's what I would call a straddle. Okay. And what a straddle is like, think about whenever you're on like a seesaw, right? And you're straddling it. You've got one leg on one side, you've got one leg on the other side, but the seesaw is in the middle, right? That's price. Okay. You can short and long at the same time if you know a big move is going to come. This only makes sense when you're at a very high level of either like rejection or support, where it's like, this is a line in the sand. Price is going to do something big here. We call this kind of like coiling up of price. And then also, if you know anything about the stock market or, indicators that kind of help you with the stock market. This is what would be called a squeeze, right? Whenever there's a squeeze happening and there's going to be a big move either to the upside or the downside, you don't know which way it's going to go. So you're like, okay, I will enter, say 0.2 Bitcoin long, and then I will enter 0.2 Bitcoin short. And then once the move is made and it breaks above or below a key support level or resistance level that is like, here's my line in the sand. Okay, now I know we're going up, or now I know we're going down. That's where you put your stop losses, and then it stops you out of the opposite side of the trade. And then you take profit to whatever side it's going, and the other trade stays that way. Now, you can also do what's called a strangle, which is where you weight it to one side. You're like, okay, I think I'm going to put 0.3 Bitcoin on a long position. I'm going to put 0.2 Bitcoin on a short position because I think that there is more upside potential than there is downside potential. I'm more confident in a move up. Okay. So here's what we want to do. I'm going to take all this stuff off really quick, right? So we're going to take all of this stuff off of here, and we're going to go to the weekly chart. Okay. Because we are about to close a weekly candle. All right. In just a few hours. So let's zoom out. Let's go to the weekly chart. Let's see what's happening, right? So the weekly chart kind of has like a little bit of a bull flag that's happening on it, right? If you look at this, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So we can see this kind of like little flag pattern right here, took us up here, then boom, bam, and bam, right? So we've got kind of like a little bit of a bull flag on the weekly chart, as you can see right here. It's a little bit better. If you zoom out a little bit, you can kind of see it a little bit better, right? So there is a bull flag on the weekly chart. How long does that take to play out? Weeks, right? On a weekly time frame. I mean, you're looking at, this is close to the upward portion of this channel. It has tested the bottom of this channel 1, 2, 3, 4 times, right? Maybe even 5 here. It wicked through it. So if you measure this move, you could see it somewhere up in the probably 105K range, I would guess, something like that. Oh, wow. That's way higher. It's 136K. Okay. So the weekly, at least in my opinion, is looking pretty decent. Let me see what Market Cipher B is saying. Okay. I want to see what Market Cipher B is saying. We did get a weekly red dot 2 weeks ago. Okay. So on this candle right here, where we saw this massive kind of dump. Now we see, momentum, or not momentum. Momentum is curling down a little bit, and I'll pull it up just so you can see it. Momentum is curling down a little bit, and then you've got your money flow leaving a little bit, and then you did have a VWAP crossover, which is right here. That is, it's kind of bottoming out. Maybe it starts to rip back to the upside, but in any case, a weekly chart like this does take a little bit of time to play out. So let's put bull flag 1 week. Okay. So let's take that off of there. The weekly honestly isn't looking too terrible, but if you lose this level right here, kind of like this, you could go all the way down to 80K, right? I don't think 80K is in play right this second, in my opinion, but we take it day by day. We don't look at, we're not biased by this. Like, we take what is given to us, right? Now on the daily, we do see the green dot printing on the daily about 4 days ago, right? And we do see a little bit of an uptrend, okay? Now, here's the thing about the daily, okay? And I want to look at RSI and really quick. Yeah, so RSI is right in the middle, so it's not like super oversold. It's not super overbought. We have reclaimed the 50, or we have kind of tapped the 50 moving average and bounced on the daily chart. Okay, that's good news. And you've got the 9 SMA starting to curl up. Obviously, the 20 is curling down, but since we are above this price, what I would expect is this is going to start curling up as well, right? And then this will keep curling up, okay? So this is good news right here in terms of the daily chart. I see a little bit of bullish sentiment on that daily chart, and then we also see, I hate this tool. This tool always screws me over. We also see that same kind of cup and handle, right, forming on the daily chart right here. If you look, boom, right? Actually, I can probably just pull up the cup and handle and you'll see it. Yeah, right there. Okay. So that cup and handle is kind of in play, small style on the daily chart. But the only other thing that I want to kind of show people that could be a little bit concerning on the daily chart, and which is why we're keeping our stop loss tight on this. Like, we're only going to risk like $400 to make, $1,400 on this trade, right? And we're not actually trying to take this too terribly high. We're trying to ride this up to 99,000 or to the value area high of that fixed range that we pulled, right? So here's my point. The one thing that I am seeing a little bit that's a little concerning on the daily is this right here. This could be a head and shoulder, right? So we could get a little, it's a terrible looking one. Don't get me wrong. Like, this is not a good looking head and shoulders. Like, if you look at this cup and handle, this is a great looking cup and handle. It's like, it's perfectly rounded bottom. It's starting to flag out right here. And if you know anything about cup and handles, right? Let's take this head and shoulders off, even though we know our neckline is going to be here at about $92,000, somewhere in that realm, right? 92.5. So this head and shoulders is going to take a while to play out. But if this head and shoulders indeed does play out, I mean, you're looking at a move down to like probably a pretty substantial level. Yeah, 75K. And if you've been watching me for long enough, you know that 75K is like the line in the sand where if we lose 74, 75K, that's where we kind of like are saying, okay, this run might be over, right? We really need to hold 82 first and foremost, the 80 to 82 range, and we definitely have to hold the 74 to 75 range. Okay, because that's where those previous all-time highs were. Right here. Boom. Right. So that's kind of the top-down analysis from a weekly and a daily perspective on Bitcoin. Now, if you look at the 4-hour, you're going to see a little bit of bullish sentiment, right, as well. Now, we do have a downward trending channel that I can see right here, or a downward trend line that we have broken, okay, which is good, okay, but not necessarily the best thing that you're wanting to see, because this was essentially a, give me 1 second, I'm just getting it drawn. This was a falling wedge, okay? We have broken out of this, which is great news, but on the 4-hour, we are running into massive, massive resistance at the 200 moving average right here. And if you know anything about the 200 moving average, like, dude, if you reclaim the 200, like, we're going up, right? But we have to reclaim it and confirm. As you can see right here, we reclaimed it, right? This was on Friday, but then we immediately went back down to it and then got back under it, right? We never have confirmed a candle above the 200. Now, the 200 is relatively flat, okay? So is it going to be hard to, I guess, reclaim this level at about 91.2? Not necessarily on the 4-hour, but it is something to be aware of, right? Is that 98.2, call it 98,200 level. So this is something that we really need to see happen. We need to see this go up above this 200 for us to continue to the upside, but then we need to see a candle confirm outside of this. And what I mean by that is this would be a breakout candle, right? That gets above the 200. This would be a confirmation candle, right? Say this candle was green and closed up here, right? That would be our confirmation candle. What the confirmation candle has to do, right? And if you've already heard me say this a million times, I'm sorry, but there could be new people watching this that don't know this stuff. We would want to see a close above the close of the candle that broke out, right? A subsequent candle afterwards, so long as we don't lose the level. If we lose the level again, then guess what? It resets everything. And now we need to see a candle close above the 200 here, and then another candle close above the close of the candle that broke the 200. Okay, so that's going to be our breakout point, 98,200. Keep that in mind, all right? This is like line in the sand. We got to get above this. That's that, period. We do see that same cup and handle happening on the 4-hour chart. Okay, that's the good news. We are running into resistance right here, though. As you can see, price stalled out in this realm last time, and it's stalling out in this realm again. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're 100% going to be heading back down here to these lows, right? All the way down to, $92,000 or whatever. But it did stall out here, and this was kind of forming a bull flag. It's not as good of a bull flag as this one, because if you know anything about bull flags, upward trending bull flags, they don't necessarily break out, okay? And the reason is because this upward trending bull flag right here is an upward trending channel. And if you know anything about upward trending channels, they tend to break down, which is why you see bull flags break out, because they have downward trending channels, and downward trending channels tend to break up. Okay. So with all that being said, it's not looking bad on the 4-hour either. We do have money flow that is positive. Okay. The money flow is positive right here. We do have VWAP starting to curl up. We do have, this shows you that money flow is positive right now. Okay. So those are all good signs. We do have a red dot, and we do have the momentum starting to kind of like trend downwards, which is not necessarily the best thing that you want to see, but momentum was starting to trend downwards right here. So if you look, that was when price was starting to trend up, and then it kind of curled off. Okay. So it doesn't look terrible, in my opinion, on the 4-hour yet. The daily is looking okay because of reclaiming those moving averages, right? The weekly does look like a bull flag. So those are more long-term, right? Let's look at the 1 hour and kind of see what's happening on the 1 hour. Okay. Because this is where we are actually trading, is on that 1 hour chart. Now, this is good. Look, this looks good to me. Okay. We did break out. We came back down. All right. So we broke out here, right? We confirmed, we came back down. We bullishly retested it, but we set a lower high here, right? Then we set a like lower low at this kind of swing low right here. This right here is a lower low than the previous swing low right here. Okay. So we did set a lower high and a lower low. All right. From this high and from this low, lower high. Well, this was actually a lower high as well from this high, right? And a lower low here. So we are downward trending. Does that mean that we're going down? No, not necessarily. Not whenever you're seeing a bull flag here and you're seeing a cup and handle pattern, right? So that doesn't necessarily mean that we are 100% downward trending. We did just print, or we're waiting to see if we print a red dot, which is, not necessarily the best news on the hourly chart on Market Cipher B. If you want a tutorial on Market Cipher B, I can give it to you. It is a paid tool. It's kind of expensive. So if you don't need to use it, I wouldn't necessarily use it. But we do see RSI kind of down here below the signal line, and I'll show you what that means. RSI is trending downwards, lower highs, lower lows, right? So it is trending downwards, but a lot of times you will see it kind of curl back up. If we can reclaim that signal line and we get some bullish momentum upwards, all we got to do is take out this low or this high and this previous like lower high right here, and we will see, potentially a market structure break to the upside. All right. So that kind of gives you that's kind of like the TLDR on, RSI. It is trending downwards, but also its price is trending down, right? So there's no like bearish divergences or any hidden bearish divergences that I can really pick out right now, but we still have the same line in the sand, man. We still have the same exact line in the sand, which is right here. Let me see. Where is my long? Okay. We still have the same line in the sand right here, which is about 97,200. Okay. Why is that the line in the sand? Because if we zoom out just a little bit and we get to say, let's go to the 4-hour chart to show you this. I would really like to be on the 4-hour chart for that. And we can actually delete this, this descending triangle, right? But I want to go to the 4-hour chart and kind of show you the line in the sand and why I think it's the line in the sand. All right. So let's zoom out just a little bit, move this over. Let's pull up the VPVR, which is the visible range, or VRVP, visible range volume profile. We are still kind of below this entire like 98.6 even is the point of control on this. This is like live what you can see on the charts, right? So let's zoom in and let's just take this volume profile and let's see what happens. Okay. Boom. Yep, we're still below this point of control. So we really need to regain this 98.6 level to have any kind of like chance at getting up to this previous swing high right here, right? Which is right at the $99,800 range, which if you know anything about it, that's where our take profit is. We can actually look and see. Okay, so we're down about 170 on our position. And our take profit is right here at $99,900. There's a reason why it's set there. And I'm kind of showing you that right now. Okay, so our Cardano short is in the money by like $7. It's like 3%. These are small positions. Okay. I'm not going to risk $5,000, $10,000 on a Cardano position. I reserve that for Bitcoin. Okay. Because I'm more fluent in Bitcoin than I am Cardano, right? Because I watch it every single day. Same thing with XRP or Doge or something like that. I'm probably only going to risk, $400, $500, $200, whatever it may be. We are up about $13 on this. Here's my bias though. If I think that Bitcoin starts to get its legs, right? If it starts to get its legs under it, then I'm going to be closing that Cardano and that Doge position, hopefully in profit, right? Even if it's $7, I don't care, right? I'm still going to close it because I'd rather make $7 than lose 20 because my Bitcoin long starts to go, well, okay, cool. That's great. But it's probably going to drag the market up with it as it drags the market down with it, right? That's probably why we're seeing this, $13 profit and 2.6% ROI on this trade and the 3% on this trade, because we're seeing Bitcoin kind of like struggling right here at these key levels. Okay. So the thesis is still the same. Absolutely nothing has changed. I'm going to get into the chat really quick, see what people are saying. Wow, that did the inception thing. Tether market cap starting to increase again after December decline. Yeah, that is bullish for Bitcoin. I like that. So it looks like we don't have any technical requests for technical analysis on this. So I'm going to run over here to the crypto bubbles really quick and see what we can figure out. Fart coin. That I always think that one's hilarious. There is a fart coin, right? So I really think that virtual might have another leg down on it. So let's look at virtual real quick, because that's a very trending coin right now. So let's look at it on BitGet. Okay. Look at the 1 hour chart. Let's take this VRVP off. Yeah. I mean, this thing's still got a leg down on it. I mean, it is hitting support right here where you saw this kind of like bullish consolidation, right? Move up, bullish consolidation, move up. Now it's starting to trend downwards, right? And it's sitting right on top of that bullish consolidation. My bias is that if you take out this low, I'd be looking for an entry somewhere down here, right? Where this previous swing low was, somewhere in this realm, right? Bam, right? So you see this previous swing low, right? And then you see this previous swing high that had a little bit of trouble. So you're looking at virtual. That's kind of what you're looking at on virtual right now. Now, the way that I'm seeing Bitcoin kind of playing out, it just in my opinion, is I still think that the thesis is strong on Bitcoin where we could see it kind of, round out and start moving upwards. Okay. Because I do like this kind of like, we'll just call it what it is, man. This is a little support right here. Okay. This is bullish support where it's like we tagged this, we tagged this, we tagged this, and we're moving up. We see a nice rounded bottom here. I really like that. I think the cup and handle is well, actually, I know the cup and handle is still in play. And we can look at it right here. I mean, it's still in play. It is what it is, until we close a candle like below here, this cup and handle is in play. And you're looking at probably 97.2. So I'm going to keep my stop loss right around 97.2. Yeah, 97.203. It did me well on this last kind of like little retrace where we went back. You can see it came within. I was sleeping at this point, so there was nothing I could have done about it. But let's look at the low on this. The low was 97.250. So we were right under it, right? That's why you set your stop losses just outside of these ranges, because if it wicks down and decides, this is stop loss hunting at its finest. This is literally stop loss hunting and, liquidity grabs at its finest. You're seeing people setting their stop losses right here, which is whenever they come into this channel, or even right here, whenever we come back into this channel. And let's be real, the people that make these markets move, they know that, right? So that's why you put your stop losses down here a little bit outside of that range. They came down and they swept this liquidity, man. They swept this liquidity right here, this liquidity right here, this liquidity right here. They swept it all, right? And then they trapped people in a bear trap right here. Boom. I mean, they did their jobs. Kudos to them, right? So that's why we are setting our stop loss all the way down here, right? At 20 or 97.2, because we don't want to get stopped out on some, BS wick that they exactly what they were trying to do, which is stop hunt us, right? The exchanges, all the powers that be, they all know exactly where your stops are. They know. You can go and get Bookmap right now, and it'll show you where all the orders are. Like Bookmap, it literally is kind of a fix in the game. I'm not saying like go use it, but I'm also not saying not to use it, right? But understanding these key levels, these swing lows, liquidity grabs, and stuff like that, you'll understand where to put your stops. You'll understand how to not get stopped out. We don't want to get stopped out on some dumb stuff down here because we would have gotten stopped out in like a $400 loss, and we would have taken these positions, on this wick down, and we would have gotten stopped out in a loss, and then we just blasted right above it, confirmed. Now we're bullishly retesting the channel, and I think we're going to bounce. That's what I'm seeing on Bitcoin. We came down here, we tested the bottom of the channel, we immediately came back up, we reconfirmed, we're bullishly retesting the top of the channel, and now we're trying to swing up and go back to these kind of like swing highs right here, right? At about $99,000. So this is my line in the sand where I'm going to be looking to, let's see if I can pull it up. I think I have my horizontal raise. Yeah, let's pull all the stuff back up. So this is kind of my line in the sand where I'm going to be like, okay, this is where if we start getting really, let's say the momentum, geez, this tool, man, that tool is like the bane of my existence sometimes. If we see this kind of regaining this value area, or not this value area, it's the point of control right here, which we're trying to do right now, right? We're bullishly retesting it. So we bullishly retested this. We need to bounce here, right? We're bullishly retesting after we regained the point of control. We're trying to bounce, right? So this 98.6 level, this is where your moving average or where your point of control was on the VRVP on the 4-hour chart. So if we do come up here, this is where I'm going to be looking, this region right here, to see like, is our volume falling off? Is our momentum falling off? And in that case, I would take profits here, right? And then I would wait to see if we come back down, and then I would get a better entry on my long, right? See if we can bullishly, if we get rejected here, which we have twice, right? See if we come back down here, bullishly retest this channel, boom, blast up. And that would actually be good news for us if we did that, because we've set higher low or lower highs and lower lows right here. If you see, and then if we come back down here, you could be forming a W pattern, right? If you come back up here and then you retrace right down here, and we talked about the WV pattern yesterday, you retrace right back down here to about $98,000 and then blast up, right? And then we can take out these previous highs right here, right? And then we can see our thesis start to play out, where if we regain this level, right, with momentum, and you don't want to see the momentum dying off because we want to see strength, then we're going to be targeting that 98,482 level. And if you want to know why that 98,482 level matters, it's because of these previous swing highs right here, right? And then the actual wick high of that is right around 99,859. So I'm probably actually going to move my order to, if I feel like we're getting toppy here, and these are the three levels I'm going to be watching Bitcoin at: 98.6, 99,482, and then 99,850. Okay. So that's where I'm going to be watching those levels to see, all right, do we have momentum enough to get the juice to take our profits at this level? Now, if we still have a lot of momentum coming in, and you've got, bullish momentum coming up, then I'm going to continue riding it all the way up to the value area high, which is right here, right? And if you want to know what that value area high is from, it's from this fixed range volume profile that we pulled yesterday, right? Live on the stream, right? And that's where we're going to be looking, is right in this realm, to take profits on that long trade, right? So let me get some of this stuff off of the screen. I will get all of these indicators off of the screen. And as you can see, right, this level is 101,258. Our full extension of this cup and handle is going to be right around the 105 level, right? I think it's like 105.5. And then we've got the 75% move, which is at a previous swing high, which is right over here. And we're looking at that about 103,640. And then if you measure out the bull flag from here, right? This is the kind of like little bull flag that we have. If you measure that out from here down to here, and you kind of drag it up here, you're looking at $100,500. Okay. Now on the 4-hour chart, I realize the bull flag is a little bit larger, and it could take you up to about 102.5, somewhere right in the middle of this range. But I'm looking at volume profiles, right? I'm looking at this right here. Okay. I'm looking at this as a key level to take profits. I'm looking at these three levels as well, because all three of these levels right here, 99.7 or 99.6, 99 or 98.6, sorry, 99.5 and 99.8 are going to be really good take profit levels. All of those levels are profitable for me, right? And for us, especially if you got in on these or on these bullish retests, like we were talking about yesterday, you had three different chances actually now to get in on that. And you had really good entry opportunities. Now, here's the thing about the 1 hour that's really good news. Your 100 moving average is now at $97,060. So what that is going to continue doing is trending upwards so long as we stay above it. So this is going to help your stop loss at 97.2 not get hit, right? So if this 100 moving average keeps moving up, which it will, right? So long as we stay above the 200 or the 100 moving average, which is this red line, then it's going to help your stop loss. Okay. So with all of that said, I'm looking right here. Okay. I might consider taking profits there if we start to fall off, because we've got kind of like a little double top here, right? This could be a triple top right here. Okay. If we blast through this and then we come back down and we bullishly retest it, boom, I'm going to move my stop loss here, right? Just under it. And then I'm going to try to ride it up to here. And then if we come back and if we start to fall, our momentum starts to fall off here, guess what? I'm going to move my stop loss up into profit just above this level. And, if we come down into it and we get stopped out, whatever. But if we come down, which is what I would almost assume could potentially happen, if we come down to where this previous swing high was, then we're going to come back down here and then bounce, and we're going to head up to this level, right? And that's where I would be trailing my stop loss. Like my stop loss is what here right now, call it 97.2. And then once we get up here, I'll be trailing my stop loss to break even, right? And then once we get up here, I'll be trailing my stop loss right here. And then once we get up here, I'll be trailing my stop loss right here, right? So it's pretty cut and dry what our trade is doing, and our thesis still stands strong. We need to really see us get above this $98,000 level, which is going to be where your 20 SMA and your 50 SMA are almost like converging right here. So once we get above that and we confirm above it, like we're looking really good on this long trade. So let's see what the Doge and yeah, see. Okay, so these are kind of capitulating. I might close these if this gets above the 50 moving. Okay, so if Bitcoin holds above $98,000 like for a couple of hours, probably close out these short trades. And hopefully they'll still be in profit at that point. But at the very least, they'll be at a small loss, $5, $10, whatever. No one cares. If you lose $5 or $10, let's see what's happening in the chat. Which other paid plugins do you subscribe to aside for Market Cipher? None. I really don't subscribe to any. So this is kind of my public service announcement to people, right? I'm going to make myself a little bit bigger on the screen just so that people know my public service announcement. So what I normally do is in my opinion, and I'm in the process of making like a free training for people on this, just like the most basic level, like, hey, you want to get started in trading, like, because I know people are going to start asking these types of questions, not that you're asking, which is a great question. I'll answer it in just a second. But I am going to come out with like a free training that's probably like, I don't know, a couple of hours long. And I'm just going to give it to people. Like, it's not anything I'm trying to make money off of, but it's going to tell people like, okay, if you want to get started in trading, here's what you really have to have, right? You got to have a TradingView account. You can trade off of the free TradingView account. The only problem is that you're only going to have 2 indicators that you can put on that, right? So say, for example, you're on the free TradingView account, you're only going to be able to have your moving averages and your volume, right? And that's it. You can still do all the trend lines, use all the tools that are over here and stuff like that, but that's it, right? Now, if you get the TradingView, it's like $30 or something like that. I think it's like 20 or $30 a month. That gets you up to 5 indicators. That's all you will ever need. I promise you, you do not need more than 5 indicators. If you're using more than 5 indicators, you are crazy. Okay, because you really only need a couple. I like RSI, which is a free tool. I like Stochastic Oscillator, RSI, which is also a free tool. I use my dynamic supports and resistances, which are moving averages, right? Whether you use the EMAs, that's fine. If that's your preference, go ahead, right? VWAP, which is volume weighted average price. There's anchored VWAP and then there's regular VWAP. and you can change the settings however you want them to be. Those are free indicators as well. Then you have I always use SMAs. I like the SMAs, simple moving average, keep it simple. Okay. And then you can draw your trend lines for free. That's nothing. It's not an indicator. It's just a tool. Okay. And same thing with drawing this cup and handle, free. The only one that I actually use that's a paid indicator is Market Cipher. Okay. And Market Cipher, it is not required. Okay. This is Market Cipher right here. This big, crazy looking thing that's behind me. This is Market Cipher, right? It is super complex. Like, okay, for example, let me just make sure that you can see stuff on the screen. Okay. So this right here, this is RSI. That's the RSI line. Like, I'll pull up RSI and you'll see. It's the same line. Okay. So as you see, that is RSI. Okay. This is called momentum. All right. This is momentum waves. All right. This tells you what the momentum in the markets are doing. Now, RSI is a free indicator. You can already do that, right? Momentum, also a free indicator, right? You can already use momentum without any problems. You just got to look up momentum, right? And that's a free indicator as well. Now, this right here, this yellow line, this is VWAP, okay? Again, VWAP, you can use that for free, okay? So the one thing that like really sets Market Cipher apart is the momentum waves and then the money flow, okay? And money flow, you can get money flow too, MFI, free indicator, right? The only difference is that this combines all of it into one friggin' indicator. And then it also gives you like, okay, this is a red dot. This is a green dot. This is telling you that money flow is starting to curl downwards, right? VWAP has crossed to the downside, right? And your momentum is starting to fall off, right? And potentially RSI is getting into oversold territory or something like that, right? That's actually not the case here because this is oversold territory up here, right? Let me get my head out of the way. That's oversold territory, but you kind of see what I'm saying. So I don't use a bunch of paid indicators. I use Market Cipher. If you want to use Market Cipher, feel free. Do not pay full price for it. I do have a link in my description if you want to use it. It gets you 15% off of Market Cipher. Use it if you want to. Don't use it if you don't want to. It just combines everything and makes it a little bit easier for you to understand what's happening on the charts because now you know if money flow is leaving the market or like over here where money flow is entering the market. This is green, right? It's a very simple indicator you can use. And yeah, that's that. So I am going to come out with a free course that basically shows people, it's not even really a course, honestly. It's a training just saying like, hey, if you want to get involved in trading, here's bare minimum what you need, right? You got to have TradingView. If you don't want to pay the $30 for TradingView to have a couple of indicators, you can make it work on the free account, right? You need to use these couple of, indicators, maybe, right? Moving averages. I love moving averages. I think those are extremely valuable, right? As you can see, I use it in my analysis all the time. And then you're going to need a brokerage account, right? Whether it's a crypto brokerage, whether it's a stock brokerage, whether it's a Forex brokerage, whether it's any of that stuff, you can actually get started trading for relatively minimal amount of money, which is great. That's one thing that I like about trading. Not only does it give you freedom, but it also allows you to do it without spending a absolute metric ton of money, right? Like you could trade for maybe 30 to 50 bucks a month based on subscription, right? And that means if you're even paying for stuff like TradingView and stuff like that, you can start trading for free, right? And then the only thing that you're actually going to have to pay is like the fees for your trades in and out on your brokerages, like whether it's KuCoin or BitGet or, Kraken or whatever it may be, right? And so I'll come out with something that kind of helps people understand that a little bit better. But now that we kind of know what our, plan is on Bitcoin, honestly, like to be real with you, the plan has not changed. And I honestly see this 100 moving average on the hourly chart. Dude, it's coming up. It's coming up right into this trend channel, right? Which is the handle of the cup and handle. And we have now reclaimed this point of control, right? Now we need to make sure that we continue to the upside, right? So let's see where our trade is. Yeah, we're like $82 in the negative. Our average price is 97.9. Okay. So that's great news. Okay. That's great news for us. We're down 1%. Who cares? No big deal. We want to see this continue to the upside. We know what our targets are, right? I'll go over them one more time really quickly before we sign off. And then let me just check the chat really quick and see if it says, yep, that's it. Okay. So our first target, 98.6, right? What happens at 98.6? We don't know. We need to watch and see, right? If it starts falling off, it gets rejected like it did here and like it did here, right? Then we would probably take profits here and look for a better entry, right? Secondarily, if that doesn't happen and we move up, our next target, 99.5. Okay. Pretty simple. If the same thing happens and, it gets rejected here, which is at this previous kind of resistance zone, right? 2 different times it got rejected. Well, actually 3, if you look at it, right? About 3 different times. Boom. Because let me get this thing out of the way. Oh, I am too big on the screen too, aren't I? Yep. That's my bad. Okay. If you look right here, this is like, we can even extend this over here if we want to. Boom. 99.5. Okay. And then we're looking at 99.8. So these are key levels. This is what you need to be looking at. 99.8. If we hit 99.8, this is the good news, right? The good news is if we hit 99.8, we have a nice rounded bottom. That's awesome, right? We have a nice rounded bottom. And then we hit 99.8 and we confirm a candle above it, like a candle closes above the high of this candle right here. Let me get it a little bit bigger for you. This candle is at $99,887. Okay, so if we close at 99.9 over here. Oh, cool. If we close 99.9 over here, we're good, right? We close a candle above it. That's great. I would not be exiting my position at that point. I would probably put my stop loss below this level right here because this is the previous swing high, right? So I'd probably put my stop loss right here at about 99 or 98.6. Okay. And then I would expect to move up to the value area high. That would be my ultimate target, right? And I would want to see what's happening at the value area high once we get there, right? Because we could target this next kind of like liquidity zone up here, which is at about 102.7, 102.5 range, and see where it takes us. So with all that being said, I mean, we are briefly right now moving in the right direction, right? And obviously my shorts are now going to move a little bit against me. But like I said, we know the thesis. We're going up, we're longing right now. And if we get above certain levels, we're going to close these out, right? Whether we're $5 in the positive or $5 in the negative, $10 in the positive, $20 in the negative, don't care because I'm going to let this thing ride, right? And you will get smacked on fees sometimes whenever you're trading on leverage. Okay, so like if you're on a perpetuals, like what I am, and you're trading 10x leverage and you're trading decent amounts of money, right? Where it's like, $5,000 or $10,000 at 10x. If you trade $10,000 at 10x, you're trading $100,000 worth of Bitcoin. So your fees are going to be pretty decent size, right? They're probably going to be $50, $100 fees to get in and out of your trades. So just factor that in with your profitability whenever you're taking that type of stuff into account. And we'll check back tomorrow. We'll see how this trade is going. And you know where my stop loss is, man. And if you found an entry point, like, dude, honestly, like this was the entry right here. This was the entry. That was, dude, if you got that, you're an absolute animal. I did not get that. And I am super envious of you if you got this entry. Why didn't you get that entry, Drew? Because that happened at like literally 3 a.m. for me, like Eastern time. This happened like one, and maybe might not have been 3 a.m, but I definitely wasn't paying attention whenever this was happening, right? I wish I would have been, but it is a Sunday, and relatively usually low volume on Sundays. But if we look, the volume, where's the volume profile? Let's just pull volume up on that chart. Yeah, volume spiked, a little bit. It's not as big as the volume over here, but volume definitely did spike down here just a little bit. If you look at it, and let me get this stupid thing off here. What is this? How do I get this off of here? All right, there we go. Okay, so as you can see, volume kind of spiked right here, right? Volume went up tremendously on this candle, right? Which shows incredible buyer strength, which is another thing that I really like about this long trade is whenever we did come back down and bullishly retest the bottom of this channel, like it got bought up quick, right? Like super duper quick. So that's one thing that I really like about this trade still. And the fact that the 100's coming up, right? And that we're about to try to reclaim, this moving average first and foremost. Then we got to get above these at $98,000. So look at the $98,000 range, look at the 98.6 range, look at the 99.5 range, 99.8, and then your ultimate target is going to be right up here at 101.2. If you decide to take it that far, I would probably take profits up here, right? This is if we win right here at about 99.8, I would probably make, I don't know, some thousand some odd dollars or something like that. Let's see. Yeah, $1,600. I'm good with that. Actually, I'm gonna change that down to do 798. Okay, so where is 798? Okay, we'll go 752. So we make $1,500 on that trade, and we're risking like 500. We got a 3x risk to reward on this, and honestly, I'm gonna start trailing my stop loss up once we get above these levels, right? So I'm really not that worried about it. The worst case scenario is our thesis gets proved wrong down here. I stop out for $500. I'm good with that. I'm good with that because I'm chasing a $1,500 win if we just get right here, right? Not even if we just get right here, 99,750. We just got to get in between these two levels. And honestly, I'll take profit here. I'll take profit here. I don't care. Profits are profits. You let the charts tell you what to do, and that's that. And we're so close to profitability as it is right now. We're down $67. You know, our trades is looking extremely good right now. The charts are showing that, you know, in my opinion, it's looking like we're going to be trending upwards. So this is great news for us. So with that being said, if you decide to take this trade, and you got an entry right here about 5 hours ago, dude, you're a legend. I wish I would have got that entry too, because that is the lowest risk to reward ratio, and I'll show you what I mean by that just really quick before we sign off. This is the lowest risk to reward that you're going to get, right? Why? Because you're going to set your stop loss just under the 100 moving average right here, and you're going to be targeting this level right here. You've got a 10x risk to reward. If you got this price, hold it. Hold it. Like you're an absolute animal. And then I would probably put my stop loss if I got this price or anywhere close to this price. I'd probably put my stop loss below these swing lows right here, right? This swing low, I'll just show you. These are the swing lows that I'm talking about right here. These swing lows, these swing lows. It's kind of like an outlier right here. So if you got that price, you're super gangster. But I would probably put my stop loss like right here, right in the middle of them. Bing, bang, boom. That's what we do. And we're going to take this. Hopefully we take this for gains. So with that being said, I hope everybody has a good weekend. And yeah, we'll check back in on this tomorrow. I think I also have a video dropping tomorrow that is on how to get started trading Forex and things of that sort. So if you like content like this, make sure that you smash the like button. Obviously, make sure you hit subscribe because we've been going at this. You've seen the trades. You've even seen my wins. Dude, you've even seen my losses, right? I showed you that loss where I took, you know, I think it was like 50 some odd dollars on, what was it? What coin was it? I don't remember. I think it was an altcoin. It was Sui. Sui is defying all logic. Stewie is defining all logic, and you know, Sui's doing great. But yeah, I did take like a $52 loss on that, but it was like a very small loss. So like, who cares? You lose $50, you lose $100, but you make $400, $500, $600, $1,000 on your winners. You're doing great. So keep doing your thing. If you have anything that you want me to look at, tell me in the comments section. If you appreciate content like this, make sure you smash the like button. Obviously, subscribe. Boom! Bang on the notification bell so that you know whenever I'm going live. I appreciate people showing up and spending their most valuable asset with me on a Sunday. I will see you in the next stream. I appreciate you all. Peace.